So my name is David Snyder. I'm something, I'm not sure what. No. I'm a certified master practitioner and trainer in neuro-linguistic programming. I'm a licensed acupuncturist in the state of California. I also have a diplomate of Oriental medicine. I'm part of the staff here and one of the founding members of the Action Performance and Wellness Program. I also hold a 9th degree black belt in the martial arts. I have multiple instructor rankings in the martial arts. My specialty here at the clinic is treating all forms of organic illness that have as its origin repressed emotion. So that can be anything from hysterical paralysis to chronic pain, acute pain that just will not go away when it's thwarted traditional medical approaches, things like that. They call me in and I go in with the neurohypnotic equivalent of bazookas and dynamite, and we teach people how to get past that. So more often than not, when things are not responding to conventional approaches, it's because there's a psycho-emotional component at work. Today, what we're going to be talking about is a topic that is unusual. Most people that we know have some form of pain, right? But today is a little bit different. Most of the time when we're in pain, we stop doing what we're doing and we rest and the pain goes away and we come back and we get to what we're doing. But sometimes stopping isn't an option. Sometimes we just got to keep going. So what I'm going to share with you today are some fast, effective, cross-contextual ways that you can begin to take control and manage discomfort and pain. And it doesn't really matter whether it's physical or emotional pain. The neurology doesn't really care. One of the things that we have discovered in recent years is this idea of what we call embodied cognition. Now, all jargon aside, what that really means is that certain parts of your brain process literally and metaphorically simultaneously. Let me give you a couple of examples. The parts of your brain that process physical warmth, if you were to hold a hot drink, you could feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. The parts of your brain that process physical warmth also process emotional warmth. And they literally mirror one another. Studies have shown us consistently that if I give you a warm drink to hold while I'm presenting something to you, you will feel warmly towards me and warmer towards me than if you were actually holding a cold drink. Now that has tremendous, it's got a kind of a cool level, but it's really just kind of a little fun factoid until you think of the ramifications of that. Because the same parts of our mind and body that process physical pain also process emotional pain. And if they process, yes?
So that's why we serve hot tea when somebody comes, when we have guests?
I don't know if that's why we do it.
Feel warmer towards us?
Well, I think at some level we know this.
Yeah, that's very good.
At some level we know this, but we're not conscious of it.
I can see correlation.
Right? But there's a lot, I'm paid a lot of money outside of the clinic to teach personal injury attorneys how to influence judges, juries at a very high level. And so these things in a persuasion and influence context become extremely powerful, nonverbal ways of exerting influence. Clinically and therapeutically, the ramifications of them, the implications of them are quite startling. Because, going back to the emotional warmth, emotional pain versus physical pain, emotional pain is highly subjective, right? And if I can change how I emotionally feel by how I use my mind and my imagination, then I can also change how I physically feel by using my mind and my imagination. Now, the process, yes, sir?
How does that work? Because physically, you can move from warm to hot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So at some point, hot becomes like not a good feeling.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's extremes.
So how does emotionally you move from warm to hot?
You ever like someone and then fall in love with them? That's warm to hot, real quick, right? Again, metaphorical warmth is what we're talking about. Your brains are simultaneously literal, analogical, and metaphorical. Any concept that we can come up with, there is a physiological place, a physiological correlate in our brain that modulates that particular effect. What I'm going to share with you today are some very powerful ways to take charge of your mind and body in situations where you're experiencing pain, physically or emotionally, and you don't have the option to stop. The first section is going to deal with breathing and the mind, and it is derived from the Russian martial arts, specifically the Russian martial art of Systema, combat sambo. These arts are continually taught to the Russian special forces, who are always finding themselves in unusual and dangerous situations where stopping is not an option. And the way that works is they learn how to modulate the neurology by merging the consciousness with the breath using specific breathing patterns. So, the technical term for what we'll be doing today is psychosomatic neuromodulation. Say that 3 times fast, right? Yeah. Rocket scientist over here, right? It is derived from a combination of martial arts, neuro-linguistic programming, hypnotherapy, acupuncture, and oriental medicine. Matter of fact, there's a lot of AOM theory in the psychosomatic neuromodulation process, as well as neuroscience. So you don't have to believe. Nothing here is about a belief system. It is about fully engaging in the process, though. That being said, we need to engage the breath, the body, and the imagination to make this work. Okay? The idea, when we talk about absorption, we talk about focus, people think they know what I mean, but they really don't. So I'm going to give you some very basic examples of what we're going for when we start practicing this process. We're going to start with the breath, which is the most tactical, cross-contextual way to get your system out of turmoil. If you get clocked, you get the wind knocked out of you, you get sucker punched, your system is thrown into a state of disequilibrium. Okay? You won't be able to marshal your cognitive resources, but you will be able to modulate your breath. If you can modulate your breath, you can return your body to equilibrium because your breath and your psyche are connected. In the Russian martial arts, when we're doing psyche training, we're doing martial art training for the mind, the first thing we do is put you in a state of oxygen deprivation. Because the minute you're in a state of oxygen deprivation, your psyche goes to shit, no pun intended. Right? Shit being a technical term, secret hypnotic influence technologies, right? Right? We got to be playful with this too, right? We got to have fun. But what we're going to do is I'm going to run through some techniques. I'm going to do a couple of demos. They've only scheduled me for half an hour, and I'm already 15 minutes into it. So I got to move fast. So the first thing I want to talk about is breath work. But when we talk about breath work, Billy, can I use you real quick? They haven't given me a lot of room, right? So the first thing you need to understand is we need to link the mind and the breath. We're going to do this in a very specific way. The technical term from the Russian martial arts is called burst breathing or recovery breathing. Breathing has 3 components. It has an inhale, a pause, and an exhale. When we're doing any kind of athletic work, be it martial arts, be it running, tennis, whatever, our breath cycle should always begin with an exhale. When the breath goes in, your awareness goes inside, which is useful. Okay? But if you're inside your head, when the outside environment is demanding you pay attention to something else, you're usually going to get hit, trip, or do something bad is going to happen to you. Exhales tend to bring us more external. We become more out in the environment. So when we are doing something that is meditative, something that is more concentrative, where we're in our own head, our breath cycles should start with an inhale because it directs our attention inward. When we focus on the exhale, we become more external, we become more in the moment. That in and of itself is important. In burst breathing, what we literally do, wherever the point of pain is, we move our mind into it. Okay? As we move our mind into it, we start to breathe from that place. So for instance, if Billy grabs my arm and he twists it, and keep twisting, and he's twisting it until keep going. Okay, so he's got my shoulder kind of locked here, right? If I try to fight that, he's going to shred my arm like a freaking going out of style, right? So the way this works, and this is how we start. Notice he's really holding on tight, right? If I put my mind in the shoulder and I breathe with my in-breath, I move my mind into that space. I grab a little bit of the tension in my shoulder and I spit it out. I get more. And then he twists again. Harder. Now you slacked it up a little bit. That's all right. The whole idea, this is a beginning exercise so you guys don't shred yourselves, right? But he's got some tension here. Now what I want to do is I want to grab the tension with my breath. And I can pull the breath out. That's one way that we can begin to work on developing this idea of burst breathing. Another way that we can do this is through what we call, again, these are just ideas, how we can play with this. We can finger lock him, right? As we do the finger lock, now he puts his mind in the joint, and he slowly breathes the tension back out. And the pain goes away. Doesn't mean the joint's out of danger. It means we breathe the tension and the pain out. In the Russian martial arts, they look at pain and tension in the body as an energy that can be grabbed and manipulated with the breath. Right? So, when's the last time you took a shot?
Been a while, but go ahead.
All right. So, the way this works in terms of getting hit, if I hit, just do reactive breathing for now. If I hit him, right, and I'm coming in with a good solid hit, he turns his body into a bellows and allows the force to decompress, and then the natural reinflation of the body brings his breath back to him. But let's say that I hit him with an internal hit that knocks his equilibrium out. Now he's going to wiggle a little bit. He's going to reach in with his mind. He's going to grab the breath, grab the pain with his breath and spit it out. All right, he can literally, and again, you don't start there, but that's where you work up to, right? Last time we did this together, I actually had him doing push-ups on me so he could feel this. What I want you guys to do, though, is I want you to start with something basic and something simple. You can start with the arm turn here, and just get enough that the structure's a little bit distorted. Okay? And he's just going to pull the tension back out. See how his structure's coming back, and his arm is still in basically the same position? Because as we breathe the tension out of the limb, the pain dissipates. You see, there's two aspects to pain. There's the pain itself, the discomfort itself, and then the fear that it causes, which exacerbates the pain. So if we just begin to, and again, as far as this technique is concerned, there's no distinction between pain and fear. Right? If I'm very, very afraid, and I find the point, if I can point to where I feel it in my body, move my mind to that spot and grab pieces of it with the breath, I can spit the pain out. Literally, it's like a siphon, right? This is a very common practice in the Russian martial arts, and I've seen it do really weird shit. No pun intended. I mean, it does really. I mean, what this thing can do. Matter of fact, we've just spent the last 3 days. My guys have been training. My gals have been training on that specifically. This is the first technique that I want you guys to play with, because this is the one that if you're out running or you're in the middle of a fight and you get clocked, the burst breathing is what will bring you back into equilibrium the fastest and teach you to deal with whatever injury is going on. In fact, if you have a chronic injury or an acute injury that you want to play with, once you've done the basic drill, move your mind into it. Okay, you have to literally move your consciousness into it. So if everybody hold your finger up like this. Put your focus on the tip of your finger, and then move your mind inside your fingertip. And just focus on it for a moment until you're really, really aware of that fingertip. And then what I want you to do is I want you to breathe from the center of the fingertip. So that as you breathe in, notice what you feel at the tip of your finger as you do that. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Felt warmth? When you inhaled, what did you feel at the tip of the finger? right? And when you exhaled, what did you feel? Okay, so on the in-breath you felt one thing, and on the out-breath you felt something else. Well, how the hell does that work? Because you breathe from your lungs, not your finger. Yet there's a series of connections that take place that allow us to control and manipulate body parts based on where we move our consciousness and our breath. That was the big secret that the Russian martial arts brought to their particular disciplines. We all know in the martial arts about breath control, but there are levels to it, right? So here's what you're going to do. I want you to get a partner, and I want you to start with either the twisting drill or take 2 fingers so we don't injure each other, and put yourself in a distended joint position like so. Again, this is a test, not a contest. And all I want you to do is breathe the tension out. Don't change the amount of tension. In other words, as he's breathing out of it, don't go and try to balance it out. Keep it the same and notice how you can change your experience of that. Okay? This is a foundational drill to teach you the mechanics of the process. Now, once you have that, okay, you can work the arm twist, you can work the finger lock, you can work up to any joint lock that you want, right? This is not going to say in an MMA or a grappling situation, it's not going to get you out of the joint lock directly. What it is going to do is buy you time. It's going to buy you time and the ability to get your ability to think back so that you don't have a knee-jerk response or an instinctive pain response that causes you to tense up and shred yourself some more. What it does allow you to do is learn how to move your other parts of your body so that you can begin to flow into these movements a little deeper, right? And there's all kinds of ways, but that's all martial, right? But if you're running, for instance, and all of a sudden you're on the side of the road with a twisted ankle, a hurt knee, you put your mind into it, breathe the pain and the tension out of it, and be functional. I've done this with martial arts students who've gotten kicked in the knee and they can't walk, and I've had them breathe it out. Billy will tell you there's been all kinds of situations where this burst breathing has dramatically changed the outcome of a situation. Right? We have a bunch of people in the room who've done this. And again, it works. If you have an emotional thing that you're dealing with, maybe you're a little nervous, maybe you're a little tense, put your mind into it, grab it with the breath, spit it out. And just keep spitting little bits of it at a time until it zeroes out, all right? So let's take 5 minutes, let's do this, we'll come back, we'll go on to the next technique. Can we do that? Yep. Okay, go. Thank you, Billy. Those of you who know this technique, help others who don't.
It's my first time, but we can learn.
You haven't done this? You've done this. You've done this at the self-defense meetups.
I don't feel like I remember this. They're actually been sitting there and
Ah.
Lamaze. I don't remember that.
That's not Lamaze, dude. This isn't Lamaze. All right. Yes.
The pause in the breath. What function does it have?
Pause in the breath actually regulates the frequency. So shorter breaths, put your mind into it, and it's almost like if you're going to siphon the gas out of somebody's car, or a spitball kind of a thing. Little tiny sips. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Faster. It's a fast breath. There you go. Okay. And we've done, and some of the people have done this like they had yoga poses they couldn't hold. They put themselves in the pose, moved their mind into the spot, started doing the burst breathing, the whole area opened up in seconds.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken Systema before.
Yeah.
I've been hit where the guy, he'll go like this and rub on the artery to get the blood going back. It was really interesting stuff.
Yeah. Who'd you work with?
Let me give it was years ago, but he was really well known. He was like right under one of the Russian
Was that
guys.
Mike Martin Wheeler? Ken Good?
No, I'd have to.
It wasn't Russian guy, was he?
It wasn't the Russian guy.
Okay.
He learned right under the Russian guy. But,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he had a pretty strong following.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty hardcore guy.
Yeah. Was he local?
He taught it up in Orange County.
Okay. There was a bunch of
I did some jujitsu too.
Okay. Well, again, it's the breath thing that's important.
Okay.
Because,
And
Do I
this
do
is-
it? Can you do it with me?
sure. So again, so now this
Not
is
too hard, though,
again, this is
Because
about.
I have fear now,
right.
so it will happen.
That's right, because
Exactly.
this will help to alleviate fear, as well as it will alleviate the pain. So as I do this,
You can go more.
Close eyes?
you can put, as long as you can put your mind in it, you can do it eyes open or closed,
Okay, so I put my mind in here.
Mhm.
Okay.
and breathe from it.
Okay.
You feel the difference? See how fast?
It seems similar to the La Paz breathing technique
I'm not familiar with it.
for baby delivery.
Oh, Lamaze.
Yeah.
Lamaze is a little bit different. They do that fast breathing, but they do it more as a distraction.
Ah,
In other words, I'm going to get my mind on the
Oh,
breathing.
for distraction.
It dissociates me from it.
Yes,
This
yes,
is
you're right.
mindfulness on
Because you
steroids
put mind-
because you're
mind
going
here.
into the discomfort so you can control the area, right? And this allows you to continue to function regardless of what's going on, right? It's not going to heal the problem necessarily, but it will continue to allow you to be functional and keep your mindset.
So would this technique serve itself well for baby delivery?
Yes, I believe it would. Yeah.
Actually, it's just hypnosis.
Well, what is hypnosis?
It's the same what we're doing.
Well, as a hypnotist,
Actually, I was doing self-hypnosis with my first baby delivery.
I teach it.
It was working because
Yes.
they didn't strap me even, to the monitor.
Yep. Okay. So everybody's got this pretty well? Sure. All right. Again, they haven't given me a lot of time, so I want to go on to the next technique. Okay. This next technique is something that can be tactical. In other words, if you got, if let's say you get really clocked badly or something like that, but you have a moment where you can recuperate. With burst breathing, you can be in the middle of a fight, in the middle of a match, a tennis match, soccer, whatever. Get the injury on the move and do the burst breathing as you're continuing to perform. But every now and then, you might have a chance to just kind of come off to the side, and you can burst breathe there. But the next technique that I'm going to tell you, this shit shouldn't work. This thing just shouldn't work, but it works on everything, as long as you can follow the instructions. You don't have to believe it. You just got to do it. The way, and this is what we call, this is really what we call energy spinning or just spinning. Okay. The technical term is psychosomatic neuromodulation. But the way this works, one of the things I call is point and click therapy. If you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. Hannah, you said you had a back pain?
Yes.
Can you come up here, please? Okay.
But not when I'm standing.
Not when you're standing? All right, well, I'll punch you in the back in a minute, so we'll... All right. So when you bend over?
When I get up from the bed.
All right. Now,
in the morning.
remember we talked about embodied cognition. The parts of your brain that monitor physical external sensation also monitor subjective sensations and everything connected to it. So,
I'm just checking how I'm.
okay.
And okay, here.
Okay. All right, excellent. So let me ask you a question. Is it okay to get rid of it?
Of course.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
What would your doctor say?
It's a different story.
Has your doctor said that he's done all he can?
No.
And there's a reason that I asked this question, because when
I
we
do physical therapy.
Okay.
So,
There's a reason I asked this question is because I can take the pain out of just about anything. If you knew the scope of what I use this on clinically every single day, it would boggle your mind. The difference is just because I can take the sensation away from something doesn't mean I should. Understand that? Yeah. Okay, there may be something organically in there that pain is signaling that we need to address. Also, many times when we create a sensation in our body or a problem in our body, there's an emotional or a cognitive reason why we're doing it. The meat is trying to signal you that there's something here that you need to explore. Right? So the question is, and I always watch, is it okay to get rid of it? And they go, something, they're thinking about something, right? If you do this on somebody and they get a momentary look of fear on their face, chances are there's a reason that's keeping that problem in place. Right?
Next, my chiropractor told me that it were many sessions because L4 is protruding. They don't know how it happened. I didn't have an accident.
Okay. All right. So L4 is protruding.
Yeah.
All right. Now, are you going to be careful with it if I take the discomfort away?
If I would be careful if you take the discomfort.
In other words, if I get rid of the pain, right, are you going to make sure it doesn't come back? Are you going to do things
I
by...
would like to be sure that
Okay.
things don't come back.
All right. So there's two different techniques. I'm trying to keep it simple and I'm trying to keep it clear, but I call this point and click therapy. If you can point to where you feel it, you have everything you need to change it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to point to where you feel it.
It's here.
Okay, perfect. Excellent.
It's between them.
Okay, you don't have to show me. As long as you can point to where you feel it. Now, close your eyes and look at the feeling. I want you to notice that there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color first? Black. Ooh, okay. Take both of your hands, physically reach into that spot, pull all that black energy out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that crap hides. I've had people pull for 20 minutes, however long.
Yeah, I feel.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
I don't have so much time, so.
No, just take all the time you need. It's important.
I want to do it outside this.
Got it all? Now, as you look at it with your inner eyes, did the color change or stay the same, first impression?
Brown.
Brown, excellent. As you look at it, I want you to notice it's moving. I want you to notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning?
To the head.
All right, now physically grab it with both of your hands.
Can I open my eyes?
Nope. Physically grab it with both of your hands. Make it the opposite of what it was.
Oh, I don't. I have it here.
Now, if it's spinning in one direction, make it the opposite.
It was spinning up, so I do it down.
Yes, good. Now double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot.
No, I don't want it.
Notice the change. Notice it's gone.
Yeah, I would like to feel that it's white.
Notice as that program works its way deeper and deeper into your neurology, any program, any belief, any situation or circumstance that's not in harmony with this new set of instructions, the neurology is going to begin to shed, it's going to begin to purge. Notice the process happening. Don't try to measure it, don't try to manage it, just observe it. And when you know it's done, try to bring it back and notice what happens instead.
Which process you want me to bring?
This one.
From the beginning? I don't want to feel pain, so.
Oh, she's done.
So.
Scale of 0 to 10, rate the sensation.
Yeah, thank you.
Bend over, tell me what happens.
Yeah, it's better. Thank you. I love hypnotherapy.
If you can, again, this is a combination of somatic engagement, imagination, and breath. Right? It would take me 4 hours to explain all of the things that are happening in that one process. But we have shrunk tumors utilizing this. We have put things that shouldn't be fixable back into operation. Anybody else got something? What do you got, John? Come on up.
And neck pain.
Neck pain? Okay. A scale of 0 to 10, rate the sensation.
6.
6. Okay, close your eyes. Point to where you feel it. As you look at that spot, I want you to notice there's a color connected with that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Yellow.
Okay. Is there any reason why you might want to keep this?
Hell no.
It's okay to get rid of it. Reach in, grab all that yellow energy, take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. We don't want to miss a single drop of this. Okay, as you look at it in your hands, did the color change or stay the same, first impression?
Slightly deeper yellow.
Slightly deeper yellow. Excellent. As you look at it, I want you to notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Physically grab it with both of your hands. Make it the opposite of what it was. Double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back in. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Notice as that process works its way deeper into your neurology. Any program, any belief, any situation, any circumstance that's not in harmony with this new program, the body's going to begin to shed. It's going to begin to purge like a snake shedding its skin, like old software being uninstalled by newer, better, more powerful software. Don't try to measure it. Don't try to manage it. Just allow the process to take place. Now, he's sweating bullets right now. His neurology, and you'll see this a lot. The system, when the nervous system starts to reboot, they'll break out into sweat, their eyes will go, they'll twitch, they'll yawn, they'll cough. The nervous system does all kinds of things during the rebooting process. When you know it's done, try to bring the old feeling back. Notice what happens instead.
I got nothing.
Scale of 0 to 10.
0, it's gone.
Done. Big round of applause. I feel like a faith healer when I do this shit, right? Nothing up here is magic, although it certainly seems that way. I can explain all the neurology about why this works and how, right? But what we do, the way this works is because we create an interface between all the different levels of the neurology, that everything is lined up and synergized with one outcome in mind. The problem that a lot of our approaches to healing have is that they're based on a reductionist model. That means they're going to separate X from Y and Y from Z. So if it's a muscle problem, you go to a muscle doctor. If it's a brain problem, you go to a brain doctor, right? If you go to if it's an emotional problem, you go to an emotional doctor. And they don't see how these things all interrelate with one another. Everything that human beings have, whether it's a physical pain, an emotional pain, yeah, and emotions are coming up, aren't they? You look, yeah, you're like, you usually see an emotional release with some of this stuff, especially if it's chronic. Chronic stuff, there will always be an emotional release, right? And the system doesn't care if it's a physical pain. The only thing that we haven't done, and I have doctors at Scripps La Jolla in the post-trauma treatment center using this on 8 out of 10 things that come in the room because it's faster than drugs. Everything from kidney stones to broken bones, motorcycle accidents, ad infinitum. Yes, TJ.
Charlie horses and foot cramps, burst breathing.
Burst breathing.
Spinning.
Yeah, and the reason that we do the burst breathing first is because there are this process that we just did, and you're going to have a chance to practice it if we have time. This process is dependent on two things, absorption and focus. If you can't be focused on what you're doing and you can't be absorbed in the process, you're not going to be able to do this by yourself. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So in order to get to this process, you've got to be able to return yourself to some semblance of mental and physical equilibrium, which is why the burst breathing is important. When you get knocked out of alignment, when you're stunned, the pain is so intense that all you see is white, right? The breathing will bring you back to a level where you can exert control over the other processes and do the other stuff. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, I'll give you a life story. About a year ago, I was somehow, some way, I contracted a virus known as viral labyrinthitis. Is anybody familiar with that? No. Viral labyrinthitis is a middle ear infection. And if you think vertigo is bad, you ain't seen nothing yet until you've had viral labyrinthitis, because nothing stops moving. I mean, the world was upside down. I was so nauseous, I couldn't stop vomiting. It was so bad that when the paramedics came to my house to get me, they found me huddled over the toilet, holding on for dear life. It took me 5 minutes to dial 911 on a digital phone with letters that big, because I couldn't track anything. The only thing I could do was breathe. And it was the breathing that got me to the point that I didn't want to just put a gun to my head to get to the point where the paramedics could stabilize me, right? So I can tell you from firsthand experience, if you practice this breath work and you do it well, and you do it in increasing levels of like, I was talking to Steve back here, he's a martial arts star, he's a personal trainer, highly rated personal trainer, so if you need stuff fixed or want to get good at stuff, go see Steve. If you start working with this burst breathing idea in low stress situations and get good at it, and slowly pick up the level of stress that you're dealing with, you will have a powerful tool that will get you through the toughest of situations. And it doesn't matter if it's a physical altercation like in a martial arts or an MMA match. It could be a board meeting, right? It could be a sales call, right? It could be a fight with your spouse. The burst breathing, if you can point to where you feel it, you move your mind to it and breathe out of it, you can literally breathe that energy out of your system, return your system to equilibrium, and then apply the spinning technique, okay, which we call point and click therapy, because once again, you don't even got to know what it is. If you can point to where you feel it, I had chiropractors come into my trainings who had knee pain for years. And I say, come on up, point to where you feel it. It goes away. And they're like, I'm a chiropractor. I've had this stuff for years. They don't understand it. It's about understanding that the nervous system of a human being always works better synergistically than it does singularly, right? Take your spine, for example. If we just go by the structure of the spine, instead of all the connective tissue around it, The weight of like a 1 pound fish on the end of a fishing line exerts enough force to crush your vertebrae. But because of the connective tissue and the buttressing and all the interactive structures within the spine, it's a very powerful, very strong, very resilient part of our body. It's our foundation for all intents and purposes. You are no less different on a psychoneurological level. All of your brain is designed to work synergistically with your body. When you start to separate brain from body, things start taking longer, the results start getting less efficient, and often we don't even get a result, depending on where we're going. But the moment we reintegrate the mind, the body, the imagination, and all the different cortexes of the brain through activity, we engage far more levels of the neurology, and it's in a language that the body understands. So we can rapidly remove anything or change it to whatever we want. Does anybody else have anything they want to get rid of? What you got? Come on up. I'm going to guess your name is Heather.
How did you know?
Okay, Heather, so quick question. Hey, how long you had it?
Years.
Years, okay.
Since I was 17.
Since you were 17. And is it okay to get rid of it?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you might want to keep it?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so come on over here. Is it okay to be on camera?
Yes, I'm just embarrassed.
Why? It's all right.
I don't know, I'm shy. Okay.
It's all right, you can be shy. Would you like to get rid of that?
Yeah, I would. I'd like to get rid of that as well.
Want to see how fast I get rid of that shit? God knows what she'll do, though.
Oh.
What would you do? What would you do if you weren't shy? Okay, so point to where you feel it. Okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, rate the intensity of the sensation.
It's a 9.
A 9. Wow. Is there any reason the doctor would say don't get rid of that?
Absolutely not.
Okay, does he know what's causing it, or she know what's causing it?
They say like the head of my shoulder is like it just kind of pops out of place.
It just kind of pops out of place?
Well, I almost dislocated my shoulder in a fight.
In a fight? Go, girl.
I was in karate, but you know, I'd like to street fight. So
okay,
okay.
That's all right. I'm good with it. I like you more already. All right, so we're actually going to do one technique first. This is kind of fun. You ready? Yeah. All right, so I want you to point to where you feel it. Now, I want you to imagine, if you would, that there's a picture floating somewhere in the space around you that represents that feeling. Reach out and touch it. First impression.
Okay.
Excellent. Now, with both of your hands, trace the edges of it so you know exactly how big it is. Excellent. Now grab the edges of it. Let's make sure we got the right one. Make the picture as big as an IMAX movie theater screen. Tell me what happens to the feeling.
It gets worse.
Oh, shit. What happens if I do this?
It gets smaller.
Oh, it gets worse. Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's put it back to where it was. Now, I want you a big, thick black frame around it. Now, you're probably too young to remember when televisions had like real dials and knobs and switches and stuff like that. But I want you to feel along the base of that frame, and I want you to notice that there's a volume knob and a vertical hold and a brightness knob. And I want you to find the brightness knob. And I want you to turn that knob all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. And notice how that makes you feel.
I feel a little lighter.
Excellent. Now turn it all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. And tell me which one you like better.
The white.
All right, let's turn it to the white. Excellent. Now, there was some things that this experience had to teach you. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
Using the index finger of your dominant hand, I want you to write across that screen everything that this experience had to teach you, so you can keep the lessons and let the rest go. Just start writing. You don't even have to know what you're writing. Just start writing. Many times both hands start writing simultaneously until you know it's completely on that screen. And the screen will scroll, so you can write as much or as little as you want. When you know it's all done, just let me know and we'll continue. Keep going. You may notice emotions come up as you write. Let them. As they come up, they come out. As you feel them, you reveal them. As you reveal them, you heal them.
Okay.
Excellent. Now, shrink that picture down to the size of a postage stamp. Float it up over the top of your head, all the way back behind the horizon, until it disappears behind the horizon. You know the sound a nail gun makes? Feel it nailed back there. When you know it's nailed back there, try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. It's not coming back?
No.
Oh, okay. Take a tour of your shoulder. Notice how different it feels.
The acute pain is gone.
Did you know? And did you have a problem lifting your shoulder before?
Yeah.
You mean before you went back? Like, you can open your eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
Scale of 0 to 10.
I don't have pain, and it was pulsating, and I.
Big round of applause for the lady. Many times when we have something that doesn't go away, it's not because we're damaged. It's because there's a lesson connected to that feeling that the neurology doesn't want us to repeat. Okay? If all we do is give the neurology a different process that allows it to extract that one piece, it's more than happy to let the rest go. I see this all the time in people who've had very, very severe injuries and have healed from it, but still have limited range of motion. Because what's happened is the unconscious mind has installed a safety pain that reminds us not to do that shit again, right? Because it's the only way it knows to preserve the body. So we give it a different methodology, a way to extract it and put it in a place where it's safeguarded. Kind of like where you put your taxes at the end of every year, right? Think about it. You have 12 months of collecting shit. I use shit a lot in my terms, okay? You're just gonna have to deal with that, okay? You got receipt after receipt after receipt, and then a certain time of year comes around, and what do? We organize it all, we do our taxes, we write a check, we cry a lot, we mail it off to the IRS, and then we're left with this big box of stuff, right? This big box of stuff that for all intents and purposes, we're done with, but the government says we can't get rid of it. So what do? We find a place where it's out of the way, but for all intents and purposes, it's done. Well, your nervous system has faculties and functions like that too. It has an organizational system to it that's mediated by your proprioceptive nervous system. Okay? Now, proprioception is a really big word, which basically means time and space. Right? Time and space have meaning and are part of the code that your neurology runs on. Okay, that's a neurolinguistic concept. And there's also other things from neurolinguistics that are involved here, but there's a lot of neuroscience in this too. The secret is we have to get all of the brain engaged. And we do that through various mental processes, physical processes combined with an interface that they all can understand. You're all built this way. Every single human being in this room works this way. If you're a human being with a pulse, it's how you work. You just didn't know it because nobody taught you. Once you are able to access this level inside of you, you gain tremendous power over your own mind and body. Right? Okay. They didn't give us the manual, so we're back to resorting to the same thing we do with our smartphone. We get it from the shop, we throw everything away, and we just start playing with it, trying to figure out what this app does and what that app does. But just remember, if you can point to where you feel it, you've got all the information you need to begin changing it. Because no matter how we've gotten the information, everything that we do because of a feeling in our body. The meat doesn't take action until we've got a feeling. Okay, so you may have a voice in your head that talks shit to you. We all do, right? You may have a picture in your head that you don't like to see. It keeps flashing up every now and then. But those aren't what cause you to feel the way you feel or do what you do. It's when those feelings evoked by that voice or that image manifest the feeling that the body takes action. If everything that we do starts with a feeling, why don't we start there too? If we can change, if we can elicit the code that the nervous system utilizes to create an experience, if we change the code, we change the experience. All right? Pain is just an interpreted response. If you go to one of my websites, stealth1.secrets-101, I should put it on the board, you'll see me literally take a guy, walk up to him, put the whammy on him, and start giving him intense pleasure as I stroke his cheek. And as I continue to stroke his cheek, I grab his cheek and I twist it like the gear shift on a motorcycle, and he's having a grand mal orgasm. Right? In fact, I twisted his cheek so hard I left a bruise. He never felt it. Because pain, just like pleasure, is an interpretation of electromagnetic impulses. And your neurology has the capacity to interpret those electromagnetic impulses any way you choose, once you understand how it's coded. Okay? I don't make the rules, I just exploit them. I report them, right? How are we doing on time?
45 minutes.
45 minutes? All right, well, I'm technically 15 minutes over. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
You learn a lot? If you want to practice this, grab a body, point to where you feel it, take it out and spin it, and notice what happens. Thank you very much. Oh, this is Heather. I don't know. No, this is true. Dr. Don is the one bopping around with the action shirt on. Yeah, Billy knows how to do this real well. Jeff knows how to do this real well. TJ should know how to do this real well. If you guys want to play with it, go for it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How come, like with me, you didn't use the spinning technique?
Didn't need to.
Okay.
That was where I was going to go next. But just from what you were telling me and your responses were telling me that it was an emotional issue more than anything else.
So when it's emotional, it's when it's the TV stand.
I can do it either way. But what I discovered through trial and error was that many times if you just go into the spinning technique, about 8 out of 10 of them, you're just going to zap, period. But what will happen a lot of times, if there is a reason why that issue is being maintained in the system, you'll get to, one of several things will happen. A, the change will be incremental. So instead of going from 9 to 0, you might go from 9 to 7, 7 to 5. And so it's a slower process. Or it'll get to a certain point and it won't go any further. Right? Or sometimes it'll go away, but it'll come back in a couple minutes.
I see.
Because the reason that manifestation is there hasn't been satisfied.
I see.
Right? And so as a prophylactic measure, I go in and I remove any emotional reason why that's manifesting first, so that if I need to do the spin, zap, it goes away. There's no resistance because we've satisfied everything about that issue that needs to be fixed. Yes?
Okay, so I had knee surgery 2
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
They said I should have been walking fine 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, the pain is like right on the knee where the leg slams. Is there anything that can...
Same process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there any reason why you might want to keep it?
No. And then the other problem is, since I've been walking on this leg,
You're starting to get
pay for that.
Yeah.
So whenever I sit down, I can't get up now without using 2 hands, and I feel like I'm all locked in.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot we can do with that. There's a lot we can do. I would start with removing any reasons. Jacob is one of my advanced students, since he's closer to you than I am. Magic frame, spin, see where it leads you. Okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to find out what reasons are that your body decided to hold on to that. All right, we're going to extract those and preserve those. Okay, and then we're going to reorganize your internal representations of that experience. Then we're going to spin it and see what your body does with that information. Okay?
Can you just hypnotize me so I don't feel any pain anymore?
I could do that too, right? Or we could just take it away. It's a choice, right? Technically, my time is up, but is Candy still out? Is Candy back there, or is she walking around?
When you're ready, let me know.
Let her finish eating before you start doing weird stuff. So, yeah, I'm technically done. So who's up after me? Nobody? Okay. Who is your doctor here?
Dr. Bugby at Scripps.
Okay, so you're, all right, so you came for the meetup. Oh, okay. We'll finish eating, and then I'll have Jacob work with you, and then I'll look at what work he's done, and then I'll and if I need to step in, I will. But Jacob has some really cool stuff going on. He picks this stuff up really well. When I was teaching advanced influence techniques, he was able to actually raise and lower people's blood pressure just by thinking at them. He wasn't showing them weird pictures or anything like that. So, but do you guys have any other questions about what we're doing or how this works? You guys will play with this? This is your time. I would take 5. I have a bunch of students in the room. If you got an ouchie, physically, mentally, emotionally, grab Billy or Jeff, John's done this a few times. Pamela is really good. Donna over here is very experienced. So I actually have more experienced people in the room than I have inexperienced people in the room. They're all lining up for somebody to fix. So this is your chance. Walk up and say, fix me! And we'll go from there. All right? And there's lots of food. Help yourself to the food. You can always fix each other by the food as well. Right? All right. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. It's great.